it is ongoing. So the next stage is the demolition of the bit that's near to Waitrose, as we described, the northern part, and the stores that are earmarked for there. And then they'll move southwards. So the final stage will be down, as I understand it, please don't quote me, is down towards sort of British Legion and down by the bus area. And that's the sort of stages. My guesstimate, my hunch is it's going to take most of the decade to complete. But it is going to happen. And the reason it's going to happen, I believe, is because Legal & General have got it on their books. And they want to actually maximise their investment. And so I can say that it's going to happen, but I know this has been something that's been running for 20 years, so I'm fully aware of that.
So you're saying it's going to take 10 years for all 3 phases to be complete?
7 years, isn't it? It's 2013. I would imagine that it will probably take, it's going to take years to complete this. It's not going to happen this year. The next stage, the demolition sort of contracts are out to tender soon for the northern part. So you're going to start seeing action in that part of the town.
4th of June.
4th of June, yeah. So that's that. Literally they're going to move southward. But it's happening, so I tell you, most of them in the country are not happening.
Okay, no, that's good news for the future. But it kind of negates your argument earlier about the fact that we don't need shops here because there's going to be a redevelopment in Bracknell, which we're looking at possibly 4 or 5 years before we're looking at anything substantial.
Yeah.
I'd also like to negate your argument again on the fact we're not needing shops because of online shopping. So what that effectively means is if I want like a newspaper or some bread or some milk, I've got to order online and then get it that morning.
No, you're misrepresenting me, sir. First of all, newspaper sales are doing that. I'd be surprised if there are any newspapers in 10 years' time. Secondly,
sorry, I use it as an example of a day-to-day marketing.
But it is a point that things are changing. People's shopping behaviour is changing. I'm suggesting to you, people are going to make an investment in a store. They're not going to make an investment for like 2 or 3 years and then go, oh, right, I'm going to go there, and then leave an empty store. You probably are looking for some sort of convenience store in this part of town, but I'm not an expert in retail, so I'm not going to say, oh, as the MP, I have a responsibility to say, right, we need a convenience store in Jennett Park. I mean, that's just nonsense. That's not how it's done.
So you don't believe the amount of houses that have been developed on this estate, that it needs a shop of some sort for convenience for the people that live there, or the people that don't drive, or the people that are disabled that are
I say to you, sir, if the need is there, then the market will respond.
Do you think the need is here? Do you personally think the need is here?
I don't
Do you know
know.
how many houses have been built on this estate?
I don't know if the need is here, madam, but if the need is here, the business will come here. That's how the market works.
There's 1,700 houses been built on this estate. You don't think the need is there for a convenience store? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but do you think I have the power to do it?
I don't know, you tell me.
You've got the power to influence it, surely.
You're not the MP of this area.
And you think the MP is responsible for deciding the shops here? I'm surprised
To be honest with you,
that I have such
as an
power.
MP,
I mean,
you're responsible for
I'm responsible
for representing
but I
us.
don't have responsibility for deciding where shops go.
So what?
I mean, that's the
What
market.
are you here for?
What am I here for? Do you want me to give you a list?
What do you do
What
What do you do then? What do you do then?
Do you want me to give you a speech on what I do?
Not really.
Well, in which case, with that sort of attitude, I don't know what more I can say. I don't have any powers whatsoever over planning. I don't have any powers whatsoever over market conditions and the sustainability of a convenience store in Jennett Park. And if you think one person has power over that, I would encourage you to go away and read up on those things. It's not in my gift.
Excuse me, we're not naively saying that we believe that you individually are responsible for whether we have a Tesco Express on Jennett Park. What we're trying to establish is if in the likelihood that you know people, excuse me, you know people in the council, we don't know that you're personally responsible. We're not saying that, we're saying, are you aware? No, we're not actually saying that you're responsible whatsoever. We're not that naive. We're asking you, because you're in a position of influence and also you're in the knowledge of what the council is, given that all the houses here,
Have you reached the council?
excuse me, that we were told that there would be a convenience store, convenience being in the name.
The
Mike in public meeting,
So
February
who's older? So who's the
2010.
developer?
Yeah, it was
Head of the
for
consortium.
Jennett's Park.
Right, okay,
My
so the
council.
responsibility for this rests with the council.
Okay, so you, as you've just mentioned in your speech,
Mm.
said that you are in touch with the council, so we're not directly saying you as an MP.
I'm no more in touch with the council actually than you are.
Okay, so you don't know basically.
I'm
So
not.
what are you here to inform us about, if it's not to do with our community
Okay.
and Jennett's
All right.
Park?
There-
Perhaps you could highlight that to us.
Okay, well, no, I think it's important that I do highlight this because I think the country has to have a government. The government responsibilities list from organisation of healthcare through to defence of the nation, organisation of the police, taxation legislation, foreign policy, legislation on energy, legislation on climate change, legislation on our relationships with other countries in terms of the European Union. The list goes on. I'm not responsible for the local plan of Jennett Park. I'm an elected representative who predominantly works at Westminster, and I represent the best interests of my constituents at Westminster in areas which are decided at Westminster. All of planning, with the exception of big issues like where an airport goes and everything else, all of planning is devolved to borough councils. And in Berkshire, it is a unitary
We're not
authority.
suggesting that as an MP you are, but so if you could go back to my question, you're here this evening
To talk to you
inform
about
us
what I'm responsible for.
Otherwise, we could read that online on our online newspapers, on our iPads, couldn't we? About what the government is here and MPs are. You're here as an individual.
Okay, but there's a responsibility.
area.
There's a two-way responsibility here, madam. Okay, you have a responsibility to actually know how you are governed. Okay, you need to know which part of government is responsible for which challenge, which issue. Right?
We
Have
know
you
that
written?
you're not here for...
Madam, you allow me to finish.
Okay.
Have you written to your local councils?
About what?
Shops? Planning issues around here?
We're not here for that. We're asking
Yes,
you
I
how
have.
to...
No, but my point being,
No,
if
because
if you
it's
have
the,
and have no response,
community-
then you come to me.
No, what we're saying is the community... We've only been here a year. Well, I've only been here a year. I know the estate's been here longer. Initially, we were told we came here this evening because I don't know why we came. We thought you might inform us about our local community. We didn't.
But my question to you is,
I'm not
why
suggesting
did you think I would inform you about your local community? I'm genuinely asking you the
Because
question
you're
because
our local MPs. That's
yes,
not
but
who
your
you are.
issues.
I'm not suggesting that you know individually as an MP
Yeah.
about planning. Obviously, that comes from the council. But we thought you might have some more local to Jennett's Park information.
I have. I knew coming here that there were issues over the primary school, in my place at the primary school. There were issues over the schools. I know that there were issues over bus services. I also knew that there were some issues over the changes with regards to the occupancy that you were in. I know that because all that casework comes through my office. All of which I then pass on to the council, because I have absolutely no powers over it whatsoever, and indeed very little influence over those things. Indeed, the council has, in itself, has some real challenges with regards to the developer, because the developer is part way through the process. So money for
That's the
further
point I think
facilities.
we were trying to make, is that
Is-
it's part way
yeah.
through, we're not completed yet, so we were
Absolutely.
wondering, obviously if it was completed it would be a different issue, we would then
Yeah.
chase that we don't have one, but we were hoping to find out information as to, you know, if there was any stage, and you would be...
I'm not the
keen to-
man. I'm not the man to talk to you about the stage of development on Jennett Park.
Okay.
Okay?
That's fine.
There are a number of councillors who have that responsibility.
Okay.
And they're actually both Conservative and Labour councillors. I mean, there are no Labour councillors here this evening. I don't know why, this has been publicly said. I mean, one of the councillors has turned up. Actually, all of the issues that you've raised, actually, the first port of call is there. If you go to them and you get nowhere, and this happens, and you feel like you're not listened to, then you come to me.
It's not about not being listened to, we've just because it's not been finished, the
Yeah.
development's not been finished, we wondered if someone here, not necessarily you individually, I didn't know who was going to be chairing the meeting, have some information about, you know, what stages are still to be built, what we can
Yeah,
expect.
I'm sorry, I don't have it. I'm not even privy to that information.
That's fine.
I mean, I don't have that.
I mean, I can answer that.
Yeah.
With regards to the shops, and I think a few people have actually asked via email, and I think I've responded via email with regards to the shop. When we meet once in a while with the developers, behind closed doors, and I think the last time before the last meeting, I made it public that the meeting was going to go ahead, and I invited questions that people wanted me to ask the developers. One of them obviously was the shop, amongst other things. And the response that we got back was that the shops, they've actually found somebody to lease the entire shops. Now they're working with that person to design the final shops, because there's no point building a shop and then, for example, as you mentioned, Tesco expert comes in and says, well, you know what, can you move this wall a little bit, can you move it, you know, this and that, and we want this shape. So what they've got is they've got somebody interested in actually leasing the shop, and that person or the management company would then lease it to somebody like Tesco Direct. Okay, so the first stage is actually they're now happy that somebody is now in charge. So the builders or the developers will now build the store. Whether the store is let and who is let to now rest on the management company, because the developers will get their fund, you know, they'll get their money anyway.
Did you say they can start building it then?
They're just in negotiations.
It's a negotiation.
That's what we wanted to know.
Exactly. So it is
Information.
in
So it's
negotiation.
negotiation, but
Yes.
when is it actually going to start being built to be let out?
I cannot answer that, because this is with the lawyers.
No, I know what you're saying.
This
Yes,
is
it's
with the lawyers.
negotiation.
So it's moved on, and remember, this has gone through planning already, so there was a planning commission.
Yeah,
But there's, like I said, without the legal framework and agreement,
yeah.
and somebody actually saying, you know what, it is better to get whoever's going to lease the shop involved in the plan, because then things move quicker,
Yeah.
because you're just moving walls on paper.
They build it how they want it then.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it's
So
fit
that's
for
fine.
purpose.
But that is, as far as you're aware, they're in that, they're at
Yes.
that initial stage.
Somebody's making money as it's
Yeah.
the lawyers, right? So they bounce contracts up and down, but that's as far as they will tell us.
Okay, that's
Excellent.
fine. That's all we
And
need to
that's
know.
it, because it was a community meeting.
Yes, I mean, I'm sorry, but that sort of highlights my point, is that
Well, then maybe
Well,
you
then
should be
you
taking
should
the
be where you
meeting.
Madam, please show some respect. I don't think you've understood what this meeting's about.
Obviously, I haven't. No.
Because this is a meeting for the Member of Parliament who works at Westminster to turn up and have a conversation, political discourse, talk to his constituents about issues that he is responsible for. So if you came to me and you wanted to talk to me about the NHS, or indeed to talk to me about bedroom tax and inverted commas, did you see I interacted? I wanted to talk about it because, yes, I voted for it, madam. But if you come to me and you talk to me about it, and I don't know anything about it, and I said, this is a council issue, you speak to the councillor gives you the lowdown.
It would have been nice if it just happened in the first place, like when
I didn't know you was the councillor. When I got here, I
Well,
didn't know you was
I
the
know,
councillor even.
exactly, so...
But you didn't introduce yourself to say, I'm the MP, I'm not the councillor. I wasn't to know.
Okay,
And
sorry,
it
I mean, I presumed, madam, that you'd already tried to contact the council about all of these issues.
I haven't lived in
No.
Rome, no.
we were just wanted.
And it
Because
was just a community meeting, so this is what we were thinking we would...
It's not a community meeting,
Well,
madam.
that was what I thought
It
was
is
on the
it is a
paper.
meeting to meet your Member of Parliament to talk about national politics and how it affects this constituency. Okay, that's what this meeting is. And it's the meeting that I've had in Crowthorne, in Sandhurst, other parts of Bracknell, and Finchhampstead.
That's
And
fine, that's perfect. We're
And that's
very clear.
that's what it's about. And because I think it's really important that people actually know what I do and what I'm responsible for. And because I get I think our last audit, we've had 136,000 emails to my office since I was elected. I've signed 36,000 letters. The great majority, is like 70-odd%, I think is the latest figure, is for stuff I'm not responsible for. So there's clearly a problem with people knowing where to go to get the information. So when I say, look, I'm not responsible for this, you need to speak to the council. That's not me saying I'm off on my
No,
holidays.
that's fine. I
It's
think that's
actually
what
saying
they
it's
pointed
I
out.
wanna-
We weren't
yeah.
aware. We were told it was just a community. We came along being told it was just a community meeting
Yeah.
relating to Jennett's
That's
Park.
what we
We
were
weren't
fine.
aware that.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know, that hasn't come to me.
No,
Okay. The reason I've come here, and I've been at East Hampstead Baptist Church in the past, the care centre, is because I'm trying to move it around to make it easier for people to get to. So I'm sort of moving to different parts of Bracknell to make it easy. That's the only reason that it's here. It's not a Jennett Park.
Yeah, we didn't know
Meeting.
that. I think that's where the.
That's kind of where it was sold to
That's
us as
where-
being.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sorry,
that's
I
where-
didn't-
Jennett Park community issue, a meeting with
Yeah.
Jennett Park.
No, I'm sorry, that's not come from my
fine.
office. I don't know how that's occurred. It's not
Excuse me, could that gentleman there enlighten us on what we're interested in
Sorry about what?
about Jennett's Park?
Yeah.
Obviously you don't know, so obviously he must know a little bit.
Sure, but with respect, sir, my office has organised this meeting to discuss what I'm responsible for. Yeah, so I've sort of come here to discuss what I'm responsible for because I don't want to go telling you something and promise you something I can't
No,
even
no,
know.
no, but this
So-
other gentleman must know.
He will know about issues that are related to the council and specifically how they relate to Janet's Park in Great Ormond's North Ward in general. And so that's why he's here. You know, if you want to have that debate with him, you can do, but with respect, I'm trying to sort of move to people who want to talk about what I can talk about, which is actually what I get to vote on or not vote on. And you know, it's not that I don't want to hear it. I don't want you to take it away. I'm not interested. I'm just trying to save you the time and the trouble of coming through me to get to someone else. There's a planning issues of Jennett's Park, and I was involved with the garages and everything else, and the issues of all of that actually is with the council. Now, I got involved with that as an example in Jennett's Park because people didn't feel they were getting anywhere, and I tried to do my bit, and I convened meetings and things, and that can happen, but that usually is when there's a sense that the council isn't listening in verticals. So I get invited in to try sort of to chew things along and give it more profile. But realistically, everything to do with planning rests with Michael and his council colleagues, and that's how it is across the country. And the gentleman at the back has been patiently waiting.
Slight cost. So if I can just summarise what you've just said.
Yeah.
You said you rattled cages. You also said that if we've written to the council
Yeah.
and they haven't responded with the answer that we need,
Yeah.
we then talk to you.
Yeah.
But you've also said none of that is anything to do with you.
Well, it's not directly my responsibility. So
can you rattle the cage of the council if needed?
yes, I can, in that I create publicity. I can say, look, come on, this isn't right. So there is it's an ill-defined power of I'm the Member of Parliament, but in detail, I cannot intervene at all in any planning decisions, anything to do with planning whatsoever. I have absolutely no control over it. And the town centre development is another example. I have absolutely nothing to do with the town centre development, other than the fact that I try to support, I attend launches, and I try to create publicity. But the actual decision-making process takes place at the council.
So in that case, I'm slightly disappointed with how this has come across, because most people, whether they're here or not, have probably spoken to someone about shops or their desires to make a very good school that they can't get into, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And also some of them feel segregated from the community because they're in different constituencies. They're in Liverpool rather than Bracknell.
Yeah.
You've also spoken about Section 106 money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that's been spent in infill,
Mm-hmm.
designed for Wickery Cops.
Mm-hmm.
Being spent in infill, which
Mhm.
isn't Wickery Cops.
Yeah.
A lot of the money for James Park is propping up the bus service, which runs very regularly and no one gets on it. And
No, it's a very busy service.
I saw a double-decker bus
Yeah, which it shouldn't be, but
Has
as a
it been
general
on?
rule.
Okay, so what's your question, sir, of me?
Well, I'm just trying to establish, you said you can rattle cages. So most people here, I think, have come to talk about things that are concerning them,
Yes.
don't you?
Well, I was hoping, sir, that they might come along to discuss nation's debt or
You just
something.
I want to ask you about the NHS.
Okay.
And from my point of view, sir, I'd rather they came to talk to me about things that I actually
You
can help.
politely asked them not to talk over you earlier. You just spoken over me. So I find that very offensive. People don't talk over you.
Ask a question, sir, because other people want to participate.
I'm asking a question. I'm trying to establish. If people here have a concern about something and the council, the developer, isn't answering the question, is that then you? Or is it still not you?
If you've contacted the council, you've had a response that you're not happy with, you contact me.
Right. And then what will you do?
I will write to the council and I will bring it up in person with the relevant councillor if required.
So indirectly, yes, you are able to do something about any concerns that we have if the council or the developer don't answer the questions.
Yes, but I stress the limits of that power
Okay.
because ultimately I cannot determine planning decisions. I cannot determine locations of primary schools. That's not within my gift. I can create noise
Okay.
on those issues.
Are you happy